Hey, good morning, everybody. I am thrilled that you're here, and happy Monday. So I'm Rita Hickman, body mind expert, shiatsu massage therapist, and I help women who are in toxic and narcissistic relationships really sort the whole thing out. So today's topic is on how being nice to a narcissist isn't always the best idea. You know, a lot of times women who end up in toxic narcissist relationships, they're there because they were taught to be good women. They were taught to be nice. They were taught that if you're nice to other people, then other people will be nice to you. Now, that's very true in some circumstances. As you've noticed, with our world anymore, that's not becoming as true as it used to be. Oh, mosquitoes. It's not becoming as true as it used to be. People are more stressed out. They're more freaked out. They don't know how to handle their emotions. They don't know how to handle relationships or social skills. And they're completely emotionally isolated because of their technology. Sound like a recipe for disaster? It absolutely is. And so people who are borderline of any sort of toxic or narcissistic relationships, they become even more so. They become even more to the edge. And these are good people. You know, these are people that, let's see if we can get this sorted out. These are people that, maybe have mental health issues. These are people that have trauma that they're dealing with. And in the past, it might have been fine. I mean, in the past, there might have been enough social support and understanding and flexibility that these types of interactions were kept to a minimum. And unfortunately, probably you were one of them that had narcissists or toxic people in your life, but that wasn't so much the norm. That really wasn't what a lot of things looked like. But as our world changes, narcissism is becoming the main type of relationship that people have, and toxicity. Because people just don't know how to manage how they feel. They're scared of it all. They're overwhelmed. They're shut down. And nice people like you and me, I tend to get nicer. I tend to work harder, or I'll internalize it and it'll get me sick. And other people handle it by getting angry and manipulative and emotionally volatile and dramatic and, all that stuff. All that nasty, nasty stuff. So they did some research probably about 10 years ago. They wanted to figure out what was the most successful way to deal with people. And what they found out was this. When nice people are nice to nice people, the world is so much better because we give back and forth to each other. And that's really kind of the ideal of being good to one another. Giving and caring and having compassion and having it returned, right? That's the gold standard that we're looking for. But that's actually kind of in the minority. And you have to look for people like that anymore, you and me and, other people who are empathic and compassionate and kind and didn't go the narcissism route with their trauma or their issues. The next type are people that I like to say they've got more mental health issues going on. Their intention is good, but they have to protect themselves at all costs. And these people are kind of tit for tat. They're, if you're nice to me, I might be nice to you, especially if it's 100 things you do for me for the one that I do for you. So in tit for tat, when people aren't kind or nice, that's when it's very good to set boundaries. Now, being nice, I've always interpreted as managing or suppressing my own emotions, even though I might be resentful. That's kind of how I always interpreted nice, is going an extra mile in order to make things better. And maybe holding out a little bit of expectation that they'll be nice to me back. What happens, though, is people who are tit for tat, or people who are takers, they tend to take advantage of that. And if if it's a mental health issue, then their intention is they don't want to be bullies, they don't want to be bad guys, they don't want to be mean. It's not who they want to be, but it's who they are. It's how they're behaving. And so when you decide for yourself, you know what, when it hits this line, before I get resentful, that's when I'm going to say I need to exit the situation. I need to do something that's nurturing and nourishing for myself. Those boundaries help people who are tit for tat learn what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. When you care about somebody, and I know you care about your narcissists on some level, you got together with them in the first place, there's attachment, there's trauma bonding, there's all sorts of crazy stuff going on. So if you care about your narcissist, then you don't want them to live the rest of their life miserable, self-absorbed, with no relationship skills and not sure why there's all this drama in their life. You don't want them to live like that. You really don't. You want them to be nice people who are happy and feel good and, you know, are part of the community and the society. But they're never going to learn this when we're nice to them all the time, when we come from a place of fear or resentment or giving more than we want to give. You know, tit for tat sorts of people, they have hope. You know, it's a learnable trait. And it takes some tough love. It takes some saying, you know what, you just swore at me. That's my cue. I'm out of here. You know, or you know what, you just did X, Y, Z, and this is what I need to do to protect myself. You know what, when you're like this is what I need to do in order to make sure that I don't get resentful and I don't get too angry. Okay, boundaries are not for the other person. Boundaries are for you. You deciding how much you're willing to put up with and what you're going to do when the situation happens. And it's a beautiful thing because suddenly you start respecting and loving yourself. You start telling yourself, my feelings matter. You know, and you can still be nice. You don't have to respond in a crazy way, but you can be kind. I think there's a difference between nice and kind. Nice always felt to me like there was a little resentment underneath it, expectation, and kind felt more like compassion. So you can be kind when you say, you know what, this is triggering me, I need to leave, I know you're upset, I'm still here, but I gotta go. You know, that's kind before you get too triggered. You know, you have set limits of this is what I'm willing to experience and this is what I'm not willing to experience. Nice is when you feel victimized, in my mind. It's when you're feeling victimized or you could feel victimized and because the other person doesn't know any better and they're so self-absorbed that they're only thinking about their own experience, they're not thinking about you, and you end up run over like by a steamroller. That's not good to anybody. It's not good to turn somebody into a bully. It's not good to be a victim. Both are not good situations. And so unfortunately, with people who, you know, are tit for tat, who, you know, they're defensive and insecure and protective, you know, like a lot of narcissists are, they have to be taught how to have good social skills, how to have good relationship skills. And it has to be done sometimes in a way that's like, I'm sorry your feelings are hurt and I'm sorry you're having a meltdown. However, I'm not talking to you right now because I can't handle it. Not you, it's me. I am not, you know, willing to have this experience right now. I'm not willing to get angry. I'm not willing to get upset. I'm not willing to be pulled into your drama. And because of that, this is what I'm doing. Nothing wrong with you being upset. Nothing wrong with your drama. I am just not willing or capable of handling it in a balanced way right now. Those are things that I say to myself all the time when I need to set boundaries. And when you do that, the tit for tat people, they start to learn, oh, what are the rules? Rules, which are boundaries, rules you have for yourself about what you want to experience and what you don't. Those rules help people feel more secure. They help people feel more safe because they know that when things are bad, you will be strong. You know, they know when they're having a meltdown, you aren't going to make it worse. You know, you aren't going to encourage it and be right down in the muck and the depths and the awfulness with them. So boundaries makes people feel more secure. It makes them feel more safe. And when a narcissist can feel more secure, typically they are less nutso. So then there's the third group, which are manipulators, people who are takers. People who are across the board takers, you have to recognize it quick. You're nice. You learn your lesson, you figure out who this person is, and then you realize that they're takers. And you need to have very strong boundaries. You need to have them quick And up front at the very beginning, as soon as you think you might be hijacked, you can't give them much wiggle room, you know? And then every so often you can surprise them by being nice unexpectedly, and that starts to change their mind. It's the unexpectedness, I think, of it. It's the surprise of kindness. Because most people are that self-absorbed because they, you know, because of brain chemistry, because too much trauma, because so overwhelmed, because so lack of skills, you know, and they are just way to the right on the spectrum. So people like that, you know, you can't give a lot of leeway to. You have to be, you know, as soon as you think something's going down a wrong path, you can't be nice about it. You have to say, you know what? This does not feel good to me. I need to go. And let them be responsible for their own emotions. Because at the end of the day, they are an adult. They're an adult with the same resources and the same tools, and they probably have a lot more power than you do. You know, except for the power of managing and controlling their own emotions, because it's too scary for them. It's too much of an unknown, you know, and what they've always done has always worked, so they're going to keep doing it. So you get to decide whether somebody's worth it or not. Personally, I like to surround myself with people who are like me, who are kind in return to my kindness, but that's not a huge percentage of the population anymore. So you evaluate the people around you, kind of figure out what category they may fall in, and then decide how you want to respond to them. Because kindness doesn't have to be resentment. Kindness can be compassion for everybody involved. As I said, sometimes that looks like tough love. Sometimes that looks like, I'm sorry you're suffering, however, this is what I need to do so that I don't get sucked into this vortex, black hole of misery that you seem to be carrying with you everywhere that you go. Okay? So, if you feel stuck, message me. I do one-on-one coaching. When you work with me regularly, if you want the fast track, yeah, it costs a little bit more, but I have so many other affordable options. Whether there's I do a private coaching group that's like $150 for 8 weeks. I do one-on-one coaching where we'll figure something out. I'll do a clarity call where, if nothing else, it'll give you a path for the way to go, for what to come next, for how to get where you want to be, which is sane and happy and surrounded by nice people and not hijacked by your emotions and not acting just like the narcissist because you're so traumatized and overwhelmed by their crazy. Right. Or get sick. Have your, have your fibro or your rheumatoid or your headaches or your dizziness or your muscle pain. All of that is completely magnified by stress. So when you start taking better care of yourself and respecting who you are and what you need and what you want, changes do start to happen, including finding other people who have the ability to be kind, who have the ability to truly be nice, the nice that you want to be, which is generous and soft and wonderful, okay? You have to look for those people because they're not everywhere and they're not in the narcissist, that's for sure, okay? So I think that's it. If you need anything, reach out. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.